What up, guys? I'm back again. It's been a while since I made a video of any sort, so I figure I might as well do some sort of an update slash replay cast sort of thing. I mean, most of my videos are replay casts anyway, but yeah, here's an update on where I've been, what I've been doing, why I haven't been on YouTube as much lately with regards to posting videos. And first off, I have a new job. I do not have as much time available to make videos or even stream as I used to. I now work 5 days a week and get 2 days off, so I don't have much time at all compared to what I used to. That said, I can actually afford things now, which is nice. And so yeah, well, I'll be able to improve my streaming setups soon-ish. I've got a couple of other things I need to pay for first. After that, though, I'll be able to upgrade things. So keep an eye out for those. And also get some new editing software. I'm not sure what I'm going to go for yet. If you guys have any recommendations, or if you know what other people use that they found to be very useful, or really, or maybe maybe easy to use, and I don't really need anything fancy. Because again, my content is fairly simple. I like to keep it about my commentary, if that makes sense. I like to see if I can make it more about what's happening in the battle and my take on how it's going, why things are happening the way they are, and just commentary in general. And if I'll see if I can get myself back into that again. Because I will be a little out of practice for actual proper video commentary. Now, with that out the way, onto the match. Here we have a tier 10 match on Ensk in the VK4502A. This thing is not a great tank. It has not been for its entire lifetime, I feel. Lifetime in this game, rather. I'm going to talk about the tank a little before I actually get into the match. This tank is kind of a victim of the up-armoring of vehicles, the removal of weak spots, things like that. And also sort of the proliferation of gold rounds as well. Although that last one to a lesser degree. Now, when this was made HD, it did get a buff to the armor. The upper plate was buffed, and that's about it. Pretty much. The turret is still exactly the same as the Tiger II in every respect, other than one. The gun mantlet is super weak in comparison. You could pen right through here with like 30 pen. Yeah, you can go right through here with like 200. Yeah, it's not great. The gun mantlet is pretty cheese. So when you're pointing your turret towards anyone, you've got to hope they hit here or here, basically. Or if it's a gun under 122mm, then here is fine as well. Otherwise, yeah, say goodbye to your hit points, if that's the case. The upper plate is decent. Front on, it's about 220 effective at this kind of angle. If it's like this, it gets to like 230. But usually if it's at this angle, they can also see your lower plate pretty well, and that's absolute cheat. It's super weak. It's like 120, 130 effective, flat, and it's like maybe 140, 150 when you're angling. Your side armor, 80mm. My camera is glitching out like crazy. There we go. Alright, so side armor, 80mm all across here, 80mm along here. So you can side scrape, but there is a slight issue with that. I'll get onto that in a second. I think it's 60 or 80, either 60 or 80 on the side of the turret, and I think 60 on all across the rear. So yeah, you won't get overmatched in any way when you're side scraping. Your turret does have that overmatch spot on the roof there for 122mm guns and up. So other than that, your armor is not awful. You have weak spots, but you can kind of mitigate them. But in general, you don't really want to be using your armor at all in this thing. It's more of a medium, and there's a good reason why. That the armor on this is made even worse. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That'll do. And you see this bit right here, this angled part right here that's above the drive wheel, that's from where the hull extends and hangs over the tracks. That is essentially the weakest part. Well, it is not even essentially, it is the weakest part of the tank. It's only 20 millimeters thick, and yeah, people can track and pen you with a single shot if you're side scraping. If they know where to shoot, they can right through here, into here, or even as low as here, where the tip of the cursor is, and they will track and pen you without any trouble whatsoever. And that's pretty much every single gun that you will meet as well. Even your 75mm guns on things like your Cromwells, your VK3002Ms, you know, the tier 6s that have the small 75s, they will overmatch that as well. And they might not necessarily even hit the track, they'll maybe straight into the air and overmatch, which will make you cry every time. And I think if you get really unlucky, some tanks can even pen that with HE at this angle. Kinda sad. Otherwise, the armor, don't rely on it. Well, in fact, you can side scrape, you can be hull down, but there's a lot of ways that people will pen you. Same tier tanks will generally bounce off your upper plate unless they hit the 2 key, so at least there's that. Moving on to the gun, this is essentially the Jagdpanther gun. It's the 105mm, 200 AP pen, and 244 APCR pen for 320 alpha. It suffers the same problem as the T32 does in the current form of the game. This gun just cannot deal with German super heavies, the Japanese super heavies, and actually quite a surprising number of tanks. This, for example, cannot pen the lower plate of an E75 when it is flat on, like this. If an E75 is looking at you like this, you will not be able to pen him with standard ammo in the lower plate. So yeah, your best bet then would be to track him and go around, or to hit the 2 key, neither of which are properly effective options. Well, the reload's okay, the gun handling's okay, but the general accuracy is awful. The dispersion at 100 meters. Well, the thing with the crew I have in it, which is something like a 3-4 skill crew, plus equipment. Well, equipment I use rammer vents, vert stabs. No, rammer optics and vert stabs. So won't really have any effect from them. But with Brothers in Arms and a very good crew, you will only get this down to 0.35 dispersion. Maybe with food you'll get it down to 0.34, and if you decide to run vents, maybe 0.33 at best. But this gun cannot really do long range at all. That is that the Tiger 2 gun is better suited for, and even the Löwe gun. And especially those two compared to this one, because they both have significantly greater pen. This has a tiny bit better reload compared to the Tiger 2, but other than that, it's not great. It can snap shots off pretty well at times when you need it to, but you cannot rely on that at all. Anyway, with everything about the tank out of the way that I think I need to get out of the way, let's move on. So, tier 10 match. Weird matchmaking. It's supposed to be 3-5-7, but this was a late night match, so it ended up being 3-3-9. My team does have a bit of an advantage this match because we do have a Type 5, and even the Death Star on this map is pretty nice to have, as well as the 50M and the 140 are pretty evenly matched on this map. So those are kind of neither here nor there. So I spot the 140 there. I want to try and get up to here to start side scraping. Maybe see if anyone's trying to come this way as well. So basically looking around to see where everyone is at the moment. The 110 has been spotted there as well. I'm not worried about getting penned at the moment because my armor's not really poking out for them to shoot. Type 5 there does get tracked by the Object 140, however. AMX-50B there, also in the center, but he's not going to have a fun time there. He's already lost 760 to the Death Star, but he does get to clip the Death Star. But things are not going to go well for that 50B, as we will see. He's already lost half his health there, and basically given up the middle there, which allows me, the Panther 88, the CDC, all to move in, which is going to be very, very bad for their team. And there we go, put a shot into the 50B already. I'm going to switch to fixed cam so you can see exactly how I was aiming. Now bear in mind I do use an overlay for the server reticle, so there we go. We'll try and go for the tracking shot, don't get it. Still okay with taking the damage though. Ferdinand to my side though is really awkward there, so this is going to make things difficult. So Panther 88 there, he bounces off our upper plate. This is a really awkward position right here because the 30 to our right is such a threat. We're going to lose a bit of health this match for sure. However, that tracking on the Panther 88 was really nice. I'll take that. So we have switched to APCR because this is such a bad situation that we do actually need pen as many shots as we can. And preferably without time for aiming. So now we've taken out the 110 and that leaves the 140 and the 30. 140 is distracted with the Type 5, so we can start shooting up the 30. Who tries to shoot the Centurion. I didn't see if he hit. I didn't really care, so I just decided to blast him in the face again. Wanted to make sure I hit the flattest possible part, so then there was no chance of bouncing, and then just finish him off. I think at this point I didn't realize I was still firing APCR, even though I didn't really need it. Conway pops out and blats us in the face, and we actually got really lucky there. If that Jaegeru was not firing HE, he would have penned us, and we would be dead. So, yeah. But we also did get blocked by the Centurion, and at this point, it was late at night, and I had had a drink, so I did kind of say, thanks for blocking me, Centurion, that's very nice of you. Meanwhile, we're going to help out this Waffenträger Panzer IV, who has a T-54 lightweight problem. Even though he just blasted the T-54 lightweight for a third of his health, he's still going to struggle here. So we're going to help him out. We're just going to blast this guy. At this point, I was like, whatever, might as well keep firing. And there he goes, he's gone. I realized that finally I don't need the APCR anymore, so I switched back to the AP, finally realizing. And now it's down to the Conway, the Centurion, and the Waffenträger. So got some spotting on the Centurion there. I'm gonna blast him in the ass. We do pick up the kill there. And now the Conway, who just derps a shot far wide of us. Got very lucky with that, actually. Very lucky that he messed up his shot, and E50M gets the ram kill on the Waffenträger, which is what every E50M driver wants, to be honest. That was a very nice match there, considering we were bottom tier. That's kind of what you want in this tank. You want a match where you can really just be a support. You don't want to be taking too many hits, and we didn't really take many hits, but again, tier 8s and tier 10 matches tend to lose their health very, very quickly. So here's the post-game stats. I know you guys want to see this all the time, as people on Circons can't always do. So obviously, Ace Tanker, we did make a bit of a loss in credits, but not as many as I was expecting, to be honest. 3,220 damage, which is, for this tank, actually pretty good, considering it was bottom tier. and there were some tanks that could absolutely have annihilated us. Like, for example, the Jaegeru, the Conway, the 140, the Traeger Panzer IV, the 50B. Except they didn't get to. Well, that and if this Jaegeru had been firing AP or heat, I would be very, very dead. And he would probably have done a lot more damage, except he was probably going for memes. He was probably hoping to get shots on EDC, the Panther 88, the 416, maybe the side of the Primo. Hell, even the side of the E50M would have been a tasty, tasty shot for the Jaegeru, or even the Waffle. But he did not get that, so feels, well, I guess feels bad for him, but feels good for me. And so we also got 1100 assistance damage, because it was mostly tracking for that. Lost 4,000 credits because, well, I 2-keyed a bit more than I needed to. And late at night, after a drink, didn't really realize in time, but, you know, it is what it is. Got it over with, got the match done. It got me the ace, so in the end I didn't really care. And we also hit all our shots, which is pretty nice. We only bounced one as well, which is interesting. I think that was a tracking shot on either the 110 or the 30. Something like that. I can't exactly remember. But there we go. Ace tanker in the VK. So, but yeah, this tank, it could do with some love, to be honest. There are a few things that I would do to change it. What would I do? Well, I would buff the mobility. Quite a bit, actually. I would make the top speed maybe 40, 45, something like that. Make the power to weight something like 16 instead of 14. And then, if they want to keep the gun the way it is, and make it kind of that medium-heavy hybrid, I would say they do actually have to make the mobility maybe a lot closer to the T10, which is the tier 9 Russian heavy tank in the IS line. I would say that if they want to have this tank keep this gun as its top gun, then make the mobility closer to the T10. The armor is already not good. The only decent part of the armor at all is the upper plate, and that's it, really, as far as the armor goes. The other things they could do are buff the armor. They could buff the... Well, a lot of this also applies to the Tiger too, mind you. They could buff the front armor. The side armor is whatever. They could make these parts here non-overmatch parts. They could make the roof a non-overmatch. They could still keep the cupola as a weak spot, obviously. Keep the lower plate as a weak spot, but buff upper plate, these parts, and the front of the turret. Keep the cupola, keep the lower plate as they are. They are absolutely fine. And lastly, I think that they could maybe do is give it the same top gun as the Tiger II, which does actually have very similar DPM. I think with a similar crew and setup, it's only about 0.2 seconds lower. And honestly, for a more accurate gun with better pen, I would actually take that. Like, if they kept everything the same as it is right now on this tank, but gave it the gun with better pen as a top gun, the Tiger II top gun, then I would actually be kind of happy with this tank. This would actually be really good. And I think the T-32 kind of deserves similar love. These days, that 200 standard ammo pen is just not going to get you very far versus some of the a lot of the super heavies, if not all of them, and even premium ammo pen. If you've got to fight things like a Type 4 or Type 5 heavy, or even a Moistion or a Mouse, well, you can say goodbye to doing any damage at all because you will just bounce. Anyway, that's me for this little kind of a update slash, I guess you could call it like a mini tank review. Don't know. I don't know if you would actually call it that, but that's me done for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.